Hey, hi, how's it going? Welcome back to our series on the psychology of different cultures. I'm Dr. Victor Carlton, and I'm hoping that some of the content on this series have really you've enjoyed it. And thank you for your comments and keep it coming. And make sure you subscribe if you've not done so. Now, in today's episode, we will continue on our journey into the psychology of different cultures. Now, our next stop is Australia. Now, um, yes, many of you know that I've lived in Australia for a while, and I think it's a beautiful country, stunning landscape, and there's so much to see there. So I think this will be fun. And of course, my wife is also from Australia. And so today we'll be exploring the unique aspects of Australian psychology, and I'm hoping that you enjoy some of the things that I'm going to say on this episode. Now, a bit of an introduction of to the Australian culture or the Aussie culture. Now, Australia is known for its stunning landscape and diverse wildlife, and even it's known as a multicultural society that sort of offers a fascinating blend of influences from its it kind of offers a fascinating blend of influences, especially from its indigenous heritage and European settlers. And so you find that some of the norms and cultures would emanate from this very opposing context. And so to understand the psychology of Australian people, we need to first of all consider some of the historical and also the geographical context that have sort of shaped their beliefs and even their behaviors. And today we will sort of examine some key aspects of Australian culture and even the psychological factors that sort of underpin these very cultural norms. And before I say everything, I think it's important that I talk about the mateship culture. Now, a central aspect of Australian psychology is the value of mateship. Now, mateship. This kind of emphasize camaraderie. It emphasizes things like loyalty. It emphasizes things like mutual support among friends or pairs. And so mateship, it's really deeply rooted in the Australian history, of course, originating from the early colonial periods and even the challenges faced by convicts that were sent there, and even the challenges also that were faced by settlers in a harsh environment in Australia. Now, this sense of camaraderie really it's often displayed through friendly banter and even through self-deprecating humor and a willingness really of the Australian people to help one another in times of need. Now, another important value in Australian culture is equality. Now, Australians tend to reject hierarchical structures and even prefer a more egalitarian approach to social interaction. And so this emphasis on equality can be observed in the informality of Australian communication styles and even the widespread use of first names regardless of their age or even status. And so you find it very much. That's an example of the Australian former Prime Minister Scott Morrison giving a press briefing in a lawn of one of the citizens, and the man just came up out of the palace and was just screaming off and telling the Prime Minister off to leave his lawn. So that kind of tells you the sort of climate and that emphasis on equality sort of tells you a little bit more about that mateship culture. Shapes the way Australians interact among themselves. Now, also in contrast to some Asian cultures, I think it's important to talk about this because I think Australian psychology kind of leans more towards individualism. Now, Australians generally, and this is also, I think, let me say this is largely due to the influence of European settlers. Now, Australians are generally value personal freedom, they value their independence, they value self-reliance, And so these individualistic orientations can be observed in various aspects of Australian culture, such as the importance of personal space. I just mentioned about the Prime Minister being sent off because he being told off because he was doing a press briefing in front of someone's house. And so there was also the celebration of individual achievement and also the emphasis on personal responsibility. So I think it's important that we acknowledge how this kind of plays a role in understanding the Australian psyche. Now, also, Australia is it's a multicultural society, and this aspect of the Australian culture, it's vital. It's a vital aspect of its national identity. Now, the diverse population, Australian population consisting of people from various ethnic and even cultural backgrounds, has really influenced the Australian psychology in some way. Now, I think I would say that Australians in general really often embrace and also celebrate this cultural diversity. Although there might be a fraction of those that might be opposed to it, but and as a result of this, there's a sense of tolerance, right? Back in a way, I wouldn't say that there are issues of problems of intolerance in certain contexts and certain places, but it's not something that is very common. And so this multicultural influence can be observed in various aspects of Australian culture, and you find that especially in things like the food. There's almost, if you go to Sydney or Melbourne today, there's almost you will find every kind of food there, right? It's like a place to eat recipes from around the world. And also in terms of the arts and also language, so it's really multicultural in that way. And you find that with things like the food and the restaurants, which represent almost most cultures. The other thing also I wanted to talk about, especially with those living in Outback Australia, regional Australia, is that emphasis on connection to nature and outdoor lifestyle. Now, Australia's unique geography and of course the beautiful natural environment cannot play a significant role in shaping Australia's psychology. And so you find that Australians often have a strong connection to nature, especially with many people enjoying outdoor activities and even sports, or even beach life. I'm sure most of you would know Bondi Beach, which it's a very popular tourist destination in Australia. So that enjoyment of outdoor activities and outdoor lifestyle, it's very, very, very part of the Australian culture. And so this appreciation for nature and outdoor living can have a positive impact on the mental well-being of Australians because it would, of course, foster a sense of relaxation, happiness, and even a sense of adventure. So as you've seen from what I've said, you can see that Australian psychology is shaped by a rich tapestry of both historical and even cultural factors. Now, I think by understanding the complexities of the Australian behavior or the Australian decision-making behavior for the Australian people, by doing this, we can better appreciate the unique experiences and even the perspective of people from around the world, including Australians. And so thank you for joining me today on this episode on the psychology of different cultures. I hope you've enjoyed what you've heard. Now, don't forget to subscribe, like, and even share for more in-depth psychological explorations. Now, I hope to see you next time, but until I meet you, bye for now.